Hey, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is Richard Shelton. Today, we have a fantastic guest all the way from San Antonio, Mitzi Dyane. I want to show you guys right here. Hey, Mitzi, how's it going?
Hey, guys. Hey, Richard.
Hey, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate everything I've learned from you over the years. I met you a couple years ago, and ever since then, we've stayed intermittently engaged, and I'm super grateful for that. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey in real estate, and I've learned so much.
Well, thank you. I've learned a lot from you too, Richard.
Yeah, well, good. Well, I try to learn. Some areas I'm confident, other areas I'm happy to learn. It's an ever evolving process and an always learning curve. I think consistently the people who are going to grow in this business have to learn all the time. So it's going well. I'm super grateful you're going to come out and you're going to speak at the event on July 21st, this coming up Thursday. So thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, yes. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, well, thank you, man. We look really forward to it. We're going to talk about wholesaling. I try to do it as a no excuse event because what I tend to find is a lot of people, they create obstacles with, I don't want to do this, or what about this? I don't have the money. I don't know how, I don't have this, whatever it is. And then most of it, I think, is just mental blocks. So I want to put it out there and say, listen, I don't care what the reasons you can't do it. Everybody's got reasons you can't. So let's just tell you how to do it. And then the only reason's you. And then you going to do it or not? So that's kind of what the idea is. And a great networking opportunity. This market really needs it down in the Corpus Christi area. So I'm super grateful to bring your insight and inspiration up there for that. So, we were talking a little bit earlier, and you were telling me kind of about mindset. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Tell me what that means to you.
You know what I love is that you mentioned the no excuses as a name for your event, because one of my core values for my team and for my own life is no excuses, make it happen. And that is a mindset. How you choose to think every day is the choice, is your mindset. And mindset sets up the tone for your life and for your success. It depends on what you choose to believe. Mm-hmm. And your beliefs are always reflected back to you in your life. No matter whatever problems you have or successes, they can be backed up by some kind of belief that you have. Absolutely. So whenever you get your mindset right, I feel like things flow. It doesn't mean that problems disappear. It's just you're able to continue to be more consistent or go after your goals without giving up along the way or making excuses. Because I think there's two types of people in the world, those that make excuses and those that make it happen. Which one are you? And you can just look at your life and tell. But I could talk a lot on mindset. What would you like to know?
Yeah, dude. Mindset's super, super important, and I try to explain that for on my side as well. That if your head's not right, you're gonna create obstacles that just don't exist. It's and even if they do exist, they don't exist at the level that you perceive them. And so I tell people, I'd rather you fail forward than not try at all. I can overcome doing something wrong. There's a process to overcome that, but I can't make you decide to start. If you're not going to start, I can't. It's hard for me to motivate you. So mindset's super important. And another challenge for me that I've run into lots of times was, people want to come with all the negatives. I'm like, listen, man, the negative stuff's going to happen anyway. We might as well optimize our mind to focus on the positives and what we can go to pull them out. We're going to deal with the negative regardless, whether you want to or not. That stuff's coming. But if I can get my head right and I can be focused on the positive, whether I had to spend $5 in gas, or I'm blessed to be able to have the $5 to spend. It's the same reality, but how I feel about it is completely different. It's
yes.
Yeah.
Well, how we feel, I think it tells us our state of being in that moment. And oh man, there was so many things that you said that I'm like, yes. It's as long as your mindset's right, you don't give up. And I feel like we're like television sets. This is kind of how I see it in a visual way. We're a television set, and when we're plugged in, we have this energy flowing through us. And we have a remote, and this remote has pre-programmed channels, but has all of the channels accessible with this remote. And that's your brain, your thoughts, what you choose to think, and your mind. Your brain and mind are different, but still. So your mind has the ability to go from channel to channel, but we have these pre-programmed channels based off of how we were raised, our experiences. And we tend to just sift through those pre-programmed channels. Unfortunately, a lot of them tend to be negative and limiting. Mm-hmm. So, and then what happens is people will start blaming what their channel is set on other people. Yes. They're going to be like, but that person was next to me, so my channel was affected because of this person. And it has nothing to do with anyone else. It has everything to do with how you've chosen, what channel you've chosen to put your attention to. And you have that access to change it at any time, and where to put your energy, where you put your focus. Just like they say, wherever you put your energy is wherever you put your focus is where the energy flows. This is so important. Like whenever you're negative and you're like, I have to go to work, and you get up and you're dreading it, and like your life is short. You know, to wake up every day dreading what you've chosen to do as a living, and you've chosen to do that, by the way, for how much money you've decided to do it for. That goes into boundaries and all that and your standards. But you, so with mindset, with the channeling and picking the channels, you get to line up with whatever you want. So like, I have to get up. How about I get to get up? Mm-hmm. I get to get up, and I get to go to work, and I get to pay my bills. This is a whole different attitude compared to I have to. I get to. When I pay a bill, I'm like, I had enough money to pay this bill, and even more money is going to flow in for me. Right. And I just believe this, and I keep that channel going. Correct. You know, I'm not like, I used to be one of those people. I would hit the alarm clock and be like, I don't want to do this. and I just thought that was life, and it's not.
Yes. I 100% agree. I mean, not only did you get to, be able to pay for that, you also got to enjoy whatever it is that you're paying for whenever you originally had it. So sometimes we just forget that these are things I asked for. I'm begging for these opportunities and praying that one day I'll have them. Now I have them. And instead of having an attitude of gratitude, I'm going the opposite. And that's, you got to refocus that mind power to say, okay, because as I put out more positive gratitude out there, I find for me that just more things that I want come my way. So if I'm grateful for the deals that I have and the opportunities and the friendships and the connections, I find better friendships, better opportunities, better deals. It's if I start hounding on the negatives, I tend to attract back more of those negatives I don't want. So I have to learn to deal with them, which might be part of that reflection phase of life, or I decide, you know what, I don't want more of that. So I'm gonna just attract the good stuff.
Yeah, and that's the channel you're on. Are you on the negative channel that's only going to attract more negativity, or are you on the positive channel that's going to attract more positivity? Because the channels matter. Like if you're like, I'm going to complain, well, you're going to get more of what you're complaining about, because that's where your attention is. And whatever you're grateful for, you're going to get more of that, because that's where your attention is. So I think it's really important for us to start where we are, to be grateful for what we already have, because you're where you are because of the choices you've made so far. And you chose to apply for that job. You chose to accept that job. You chose to work for that amount of money. You chose that person to be with. When you start taking accountability and being like, you know what, I'm grateful. Even if the job sucks now and you don't like it anymore, I'm grateful for that I have this position, but it's outgrown me. So I'm willing to look outside of this now and move forward and continue to grow, and understand, be grateful for the what it's done for you. It was it doesn't have to be a lifelong sentence, anything you've chosen. It can be a stepping stone, and appreciate for the lessons you've learned in that position, and then be willing to grow and move from that position.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. That attention is what that intention becomes. So as we give attention to that, good or bad, then that becomes what comes to us. So that's super, super important. So we're supposed to be talking about real estate. We're talking about life and how to get focused for it. It's which is interesting. All right. So we were also talking about flow. So, can you kind of explain what flow is to you and what that means, and how we can put energy behind that to get the results that we're looking for?
Okay. So I have two things for flow. First off, I think just because we're alive, we have a flow going through us of everything that is.
The force, man.
Yeah. I mean, us just being alive already tells me that each one of us has this source of energy of everything that is flowing through us. And that's really powerful if you really think about it. And the only reason you don't have everything you want in life is because you separated yourself from it. It's available for you if you want to go into that channel. But first, the second one is your own individual flow. And I think this comes as you start learning about yourself, because you need to know yourself to know what your flow is. If you don't know yourself, you're going to be in the wrong lane a lot. You're going to be in the wrong relationships, wrong jobs, wrong places. And it's really hard for you to find your flow when you're not really being yourself, and you have to know yourself first. So get to know who you really are. A lot of us are just like pre-programmed channels, like what we've learned in our own experiences and like what our parents have taught us, whatever our teachers have taught us, whatever our friends, whatever it is, we have learned to be conditioned to be a certain person. And a lot of us really aren't who we really are. We don't even know who that person is. I ask people very basic questions, and I'm very surprised about how many people really don't know themselves or even know what they want in life. Some will just say, I want my family to be happy, or I want to be happy. Well, what does that look like? So get to know yourself, ask yourself those questions. Like, I think it's important to ask questions like this too. Like, who have you not forgiven in your life? Who are you holding anger towards? Do you come from a place of love, or do you come from a place of fear? Do you know this? What is your main emotions? Do you notice that you're mainly in rage and anger, or you're easily triggered? Do you notice, because there's a lot of things once you start getting to know yourself that you may notice there's things that you don't really think show up as who you really are. Because some people think they're one way, but who they show up to be is not that same person. And knowing yourself is important so that you can show up the way you want to show up, but also for you to find your flow. Because once you get to know yourself and you're like, this is something. So I was just talking to a friend, and they were like, I do everything I don't like. And I was like, why? And they were like, because I don't want to ask someone else to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And I was like, why? Because what are you doing? You're proving something, but why? Why are you proving this? Because honestly, we were all made differently. Or how I feel is we were all made differently so that we can shine in the things that we're good at. We weren't meant to be the best at everything. We weren't meant to do everything either. And so like when you get to know yourself and you focus your energy on the things that you're good at, you're going to accomplish a lot more with ease and with enjoyment. Especially if you've worked on yourself while getting to know yourself and realizing that you're the one that's caused all your suffering. Pain comes, but suffering is a choice. We ruminate in things that were bad for us, or we stay where we don't like. And it's like, honor yourself, honor who you really are, and be that. And when you really are who you are, opportunities, people are just attracted to you. Mm-hmm. Things will come at you that they're like, oh, you're authentic. Here you go. The world will just start giving you stuff. People will just be like, oh man, I want to be around that person's energy. Like, and that is the flow for me. Like, there's been people who are like, you're just a lucky person, Mitzi. These things just come up to you. And I'm like, the amount of work that I've had to do, the inner work to be everything that I am, because I was a very shy, fear-driven person. Absolutely. And I was not who I was. I thought I always had to have something to prove to people. Like, I won't ask anyone to do something I won't do. Like, that's proving something to somebody. Like, somebody cares if you ask them to cold call and you don't cold call anymore. No, I don't have anything to prove to you. And I don't know if that's coming off correctly, but I think that when we focus on what we really are, it does get attracted to us. So that's what the flow is.
And you're more grateful for it because you're attracting what genuinely matches you. Instead of you start pretending to force yourself to do what you don't want to do, and then you're surrounded by people who love doing what you hate. And then you wonder why it doesn't match. And you're like, well, because I'm attracting the wrong people. I'm lying to them and saying that I think that this is the best way to live, and it may be for them, not for you. I'm not supposed to be the president or supposed to be this. My job is this. Like for me personally, my own perspective, my sales is the thing that I prefer the most. That's what I like the best. Running the organizations is great. Doing the cold calls are fine, but I enjoy that particular aspect the most. So I want to be the dominant factor in there, and I'll teach other people how to do the other things that I don't want to do as much. I'm not a good bean counter. I want to hire the bean bean counter who loves it, because that's not me. It's and I love them for doing it, and I'm grateful for them, but that's their world. And there's some people who love it so much, and I don't get it, but that's okay. It's not for me to get. They love it, and that's where their truth is. And
yes, that's what I love, is everybody's so different that you actually don't have to. You don't have to do all those things that you don't like. You just find the people that do like to do those things.
And you have a team.
Yes. And like what you focus on, you get more of. Why would you focus more on the things you don't like doing anyways? You're just going to get more of that.
Yes.
So,
I don't want an abundance of what I don't want. I want an abundance of the stuff I love. Yes.
mm-hmm.
Yes. So what Nick Montalvo put, the luck is taking advantage of the opportunities when they are presented to you. So we got, we're getting some feedback up here. Let's see. We got, does a person have to have great credit in order to get funding for a flip? I think we can both answer that, but the answer is no. Just for the record and provable, I got somebody with a 412 and 2 foreclosures done through a hard money lender. So, the deal matters. It's if the math is right, people will find a deal. You find a deal that's strong enough, you get me a 20-30% deal, I'll fund it with I'll go find the money in about 8 seconds. You try to bring me a 110% deal, well, mysteriously I can't help you with an 850 score. It's the credit's important, but the deal, it all starts with a deal. So don't, and that it's a great question, because I think people have that fear. Well, I have to have money. Well, I have to have credit. Well, I have to have. No, what you have to have is, going back to what was the first one, mindset, that you want to do this deal. Now we have to have a process and knowledge and other things that we'll develop. But until you decide that I'm not going to let someone get in my way, I'm going to find a way to succeed, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to sit there and spin around in circles, debating on what you want to. What you want to accomplish. So then as you do that, I think, going to your point, that opportunities are going to flow. You're going to find more deals that fit with you. And then if you know your strengths by knowing yourself, like you were telling me earlier, then you're going to learn how to optimize your portion of that opportunity and find and outsource where the weaker areas. So if you don't have the strong credit, that's fine. I don't know, in some of these big apartment deals, it'd be a $400 million project. The guy that signs for it, he has an 850 score, maybe. That's great. But all the other parties, the 10, 20, 30, 400 other people, they don't even check their credit. Now, you're a part owner in a $400 million project. Nobody cares. They're buying the deal. You got some money? All right, cool. You got the connections? Great. You got the one guy willing to sign his name that it's a non-recourse loan, so it doesn't even matter? No. They don't care.
When it comes to life, to me, I think it's all about resourcefulness. There's a lot of people who are always waiting for the right moment or the right credit or this or that. They're always building to me, it's like doing the zigzag instead of just going straight to it. It's like there's too many resources and too many people out there that have the good that you need, and then you have something that they need, and you just partner up. But even on the flips, like something I do want to mention on that is that if you are told by a hard money lender that you got to bring like 30,000 to closing or a lot of money to closing, it's probably not a good deal.
Yes.
I can make money at closing.
Yeah, that's called a left-handed turn down.
Yeah.
You're like, you're approved with 100% cash. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen people brag about it. They're like, "Oh, I'm paying 30,000 at closing when I bought this house," and people are like, "That's badass." And I'm like, "No, it's actually not." I'm sorry, I cussed. But that's actually.
All do.
Yeah, I think it's just a sign that you don't have that great of a deal.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I've done, we've done plenty. I think both of us have. You've done deals where you'll go to closing, you technically have the down payment, you'll pay it back, and it comes right back to you. So you got, okay, well, I put $8,000 in, and I'll walk away with 30. So now I had 30 or 40, and I still own the thing. Then you cash out, refinance it, then I still own it. And now they're just giving me another 20 or 30 grand, and I still own it. And then it's still cash flowing, and it's still working. And they're like, well, how'd that happen? Oh, I thought I had to have no money. Well, or I had to have money. No, you don't. What you need is knowledge, and a good deal. And then the rest will come together. That's why I think networking is so important. Like the event, I want to get people in front of other people so you can find that missing piece to your puzzle. Everybody's puzzle is a little bit different. I don't know what you need, but I'll never know if I don't get in front of you and talk to you. And I don't know what I need until I know what you can do. And when I understand your part, I can say, okay, let's put your piece with my piece and this other person's piece. Now we got a deal. Now let's go ahead and put something together.
Mhm.
So was this that person? Yeah, credit. So hopefully that answers your question about the credit side of it. So let's talk about the other aspects of it, and that's sometimes you get a little overwhelmed in this industry. You got a lot of stuff going on, so everybody, when they see you're successful, that attracts amazing people and attracts not as amazing sometimes opportunities. So sometimes you got to come up with some boundaries. So I'm assuming that you have some insight on what some boundary, how we establish what that is.
Yeah, so I think it's great to have core values set up
Uh-huh.
for your business and in your life. Like the people in your life have integrity, they're honest, they don't make excuses. They're a team worker, like whatever it is, you get to come up with those core values. And if somebody shows you at any time that they don't share those same core values, be okay cutting off that relationship, because your core values should not be negotiable or something you have to talk about and sit down and be like, hey, tell the truth. We'll do this again and see if you can tell the truth this time. No, they're more like, okay, this person lied. I caught them lying. All right, I'm cutting them off. I don't have to stick with this. So I think boundaries are like your line of, hey, this is my exit sign, that you will not be in my company or in my life anymore. And it's important to have, because there are a lot of people that'll come up to you and want to work with you, and they'll and I had really poor boundaries in the beginning, so I was like, oh, you want to work for me, you got a heartbeat, let's do it. And that's like the worst way to work in this business, by the way, because there is money in this business. So there's some greedy people that will come up and they don't have the best motivations. But you can see through that just by watching them. You don't want to give people your blueprint of like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. Just watch what they do. And then also I do share my core values when I work with someone. But I share it with them after I've asked them certain questions that will get them coming out with letting me know that they actually share the same core values. So I don't tell them what they are. I ask them questions, and then once I'm hiring them, I go over the core values, but they've already shown me that they share those same core values with the way they've answered certain questions. I'll even ask them, if you've had a problem in the past, how did you solve it? And if somebody says, well, it was, and they blame somebody else for the problem, I actually don't move any further, because I know that they are an excuse kind of person, and they may even have some mental personality disorders. So like, I just don't deal with that anymore. So I have certain questions that I ask now to determine if somebody shares that. But yeah, I think it's actually really important to do that and not just be willing to work with anybody, because you can open yourself up for a lot of heartache if you do something like that. I've been there and done that.
Absolutely. That's 100% true. You get the right partners and the wrong employees or the wrong partners, and you just have tension that's unnecessary. You'll have different views and different perspectives, or you'll get abused or feel abused, and in the transaction, that's not a good place to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime you feel tension, you need to
Yes.
communicate, but you also need to
Absolutely.
figure out where that's coming from. Because
Sure.
if it's coming from because somebody's crossing boundaries and you're not speaking up, or you're not doing your part of getting them out of your life,
Mhm.
then you need to do something. As soon as you feel the tension, communicate or exit. And that way you don't spend a lot of time in this negative feeling, because however you feel, you're going to attract more of that. So you
Yes.
got to be really careful with your energy and with those that you work with.
Absolutely. So what are some of your core values?
Integrity, trust,
Mhm.
you do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Honesty, team player. If somebody acts like a rock star, I actually don't like working with rock
Drift
stars.
away.
Huh?
You drift away from them. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're the ones that won't be really in the team meeting.
Mhm.
They're not team players. So if you're going to work with me, you're going to be a team player. If you want to work by yourself, being a rock star is great. But you've got to be able to be a team player too. And then no excuses, make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. And then I also have one that you believe in, like a higher source. You understand energy, frequency, and vibration, because It's so important in life. I listen to Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza. All these guys are have doctorates. And everything comes down to energy. I know we're on a real estate podcast, but it doesn't matter what you do. If you can just fix your energy and watch the frequency you let out, and that's determined, a great gauge of that is how you feel. How are you feeling right now? That is the frequency you're letting off. And so forgot where I was going with that.
That's okay, but just let the energy flow. You sound like Tesla. You just know the power of the 3, 6, and 9, right? Yeah.
See, and it's something, I see a comment here. It says, I need to make it happen. Here's another thing. When we say need, we actually are coming from a space of lack, because we're stating we don't already have it, that it's not already happening. So energy and frequency is really important in understanding that sometimes it may feel a little delusional, but you need to claim it right now. I make it happen. And even if you don't just yet, I make it happen, and feel into that and feel, how would that feel? And then this inspired action starts coming up. Like all of a sudden, so here's an example of that. So one time I was going to be cold calling some private investors. And so I'm on the county clerk, looking up some deed of trust, getting some names, going to skip trace them. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get some private investors here. And I was about to start doing it. And then all of a sudden I had an idea to go to the coffee shop. I don't drink coffee. So I was like, why would I go to the coffee shop? That's so stupid. I'm just going to continue to do this. And I was like, wait a second, Mitzi, you're fighting with inspired action. Like, what are you doing? Take the inspired action. Because that was not my own thought. That was like something that came to me. And our thoughts are like just recycled junk. But whenever you have a new idea come in, or something that comes to you that really wasn't from your own thought, follow that. And so I went to the coffee shop, and I'm sitting there. I don't know what to do. I'm like, okay, I'll just order some tea. And I start working on my computer because I really didn't know I was there. And then all of a sudden, somebody behind me starts talking about how they have like $2 million that they need to invest in. And if the guy knows anybody in real estate that he can invest it in. And I'm like, here's my spot. And so I was like, I don't know when to start speaking up. So I was waiting for that inspired action. So I'm like just sitting here, like just getting excited. And then all of a sudden he said something about people aren't authentic on Facebook and say what they really think. And that I was like, there is my space. And I turned around and I was like, I do. And they were like, oh, hey, what's your name? So we exchanged names, and I asked them what they were doing, and they told me, and they're like, asked me about me, and I told them what I do. And they're like, oh, we need somebody like you. And then this guy was a financial advisor, and he had a commercial broker coming in next. And so he asked me to actually be part of his meetings. So I pretty much hung out with him for the rest of the day, this financial advisor, meeting with his clients that had extra millions of dollars to invest into real estate.
There you go.
I could have cold called all day long, had a lot less fun, and probably still not got what I got in that meeting of just going with the flow, going with the inspired action. And it was because I was like, all right, I'm going to get some money today. That was my mindset. I'm getting it. It's happening. I don't think maybe it'll happen. Maybe if I call 20 people, this will happen. No, I'm just like, no, it's happening, period. This is just the way. Every house I've ever bought, I look at it, I'm like, that's happening. I even have people tell me, like, when I did that big apartment deal, people were like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's like, oh, it's happening. But that was just my mindset. I'm making it happen. And it has already happened. I'll just claim it's already happening for me. And so I think like getting out of the, I need to, I have to, and understanding like, am I really coming from a space of lack, or am I coming from a space of abundance? Because whatever space you're coming from, you're going to attract more of that. So if you're thinking lack, like I have to, or I need to do this, you're going to keep on that cycle of need to, lack, have to. So be careful with your words, because your words are very, very powerful.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's the programming of the subconscious. So, whatever you put in there, it stores, and you can't really say, your subconscious doesn't recognize a negative. I can't say, don't see an elephant. You just saw the elephant. You can't say, I don't do this, or this. It doesn't work like that. If you just say, I have $1 million. I'm going to make $1 million. I'm making $1 million. I've made the $1 million, versus, well, I need to, well, I can't, I'm not going to, it doesn't recognize it. I don't need to fail. That's not going to work. I'm going to win. It's, I am winning. It's, that these are, see, now we're getting some new ones. All right. Well said. And some claps. Okay.
If you can claim things as like an I am statement, yes. I am so powerful. Yes, and claim it as it is right now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know we had posted, both of us have posted that very similar. I am successful. I am this. I'm happy. I'm wealthy. I'm healthy. I'm wise. I'm whatever it is that you want to say. And if you say those intentions, for me, if I just say them in the morning, it sets the tone for the whole day, and then get your brain programmed into finding those solutions for those particular confessions. So if I want to say, okay, I am wealthy, okay, well, I'm going to drive that mindset to find wealth today. If I say, if I wake up to the converse and I say, I'm tired, well, miraculously, I'm tired all freaking day. Yeah. And so I'd rather just say, okay, man, I'm opposite. And even when that may not 100% be accurate in that moment, it pulls me out of that place of lack and pulls me back up to where I just said I was. So if I'm a little tired and I go, man, I'm excited. It's going to be an awesome day. It's a fantastic opportunity. And then all of a sudden some fantastic opportunities come on. It amazes me how we let 10 seconds of reality determine the rest of the day. Like it's somebody cut me off on the highway. That sucks. But it's not important. It's let's focus on the rest of the other day. There's so much more.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I get so excited.
No, go. Take it over.
Yeah. So we're human beings. We have emotions. We're emotional beings. And whenever you react, because no matter how much work you've done, you're still going to have your moments that you react, but you get to choose, how long am I going to react for? Yes. Is it worth to stay in this mood? No, move on. It was just an experience. Move on to the next one. Don't allow the one bad experience to be your only experience. You get to choose. And I do. So the reticular activating system is actually more of the technical part of all of this, flow stuff, because what you've chosen to focus on turns on. So we have this ball of neurons at the base of our brainstem. That's the reticular activating system. Basically, it's like a bouncer for our brain. It decides what we get to see, because we have so much stimulus around us. So we have 400 billion bits of information that our subconscious mind takes in every second. Every second. A lot of people who think that they have strong intuition, what it really is just the reticular activating system turning on. And they'll be like, I don't know why, but I think this. Well, it's because your mind has already read everything in there. You're just now being shown it because it's something that you have a belief about, or you have been thinking about. So your reticular activating system gets turned on when you choose to believe something, or when you're choosing to think about something. So because there's so much information out there, it needs to know what you need to know consciously. So the reticular activating system determines that based off what you've chosen to believe. And if you're like, I am busy, the reticular activating system is going to be like, okay, you want to be busy? Let's find busy. Or I am broke. The reticular activating system is going to be like, okay, we're broke. Let's continue to look for positions that make us broke. I am wealthy. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're wealthy. We need to now look for positions and opportunities for wealth, because all of them are out there right in front of you. Every single one of them. An example of this is I had left $100 bill in the middle of downtown in San Antonio on some grass. I left it there. It was my birthday. I dropped it out of my purse, and I come back the next morning, and there was a lot of homeless people sitting around there. And one of my girlfriends that was walking with me, I see my $100 bill sitting on the grass, and there's 3 homeless people seriously sitting right next to it. And I just leaned down, pick it up, and they were like, wow, that was there the whole time? I was like, yeah. And we walk off, and she goes, those homeless people are kind of stupid. They were just sitting next to a $100 bill, and they didn't even pick it up. And I said, no, they're not stupid. It's the reticular activating system. They didn't believe that a $100 bill could be sitting there, so they didn't see it. It's just whatever you've chosen to believe. If you believe great things are always happening to you, if you believe you can find $1 million, if you believe this, the reticular activating system is going to turn on and make sure it can reiterate that belief for you, because it sees everything. And as long as you're willing to be attuned to what you want, it can show you those things. But it's only going to show you what you're attuned to, what you're telling it that you want to see more of. This is why your energy is really important in what you choose to focus on, because your brain works that way.
I agree. Oh man, you're sharing all the information today, huh? Yeah. But I think it's important. You know, a lot of people get into real estate and they're focused on one aspect or another, but then they want to know why some people are successful and why some people tend to struggle. And I think a lot of them don't understand the power of the rest of the scenario. You know, they don't know how their brain needs to be focused, how your energy needs to be focused, what your intentions need to be. You know, they call it a winning attitude, but you know, you need to have the right mindset to move forward, or you're going to keep running into struggles. You know, and there's no need to do that. You know, that there's plenty of opportunities. You know, plenty of ways to move forward. We're running to that a sense of lack. Well, man, you know, what if somebody gets something from you? It's not yours. It's not theirs. It's you know, just go out there. There's a bajillion opportunities. And then there's opportunities on top of the opportunities. You know, you know, in our industry, if a wholesaler picks it up and a flipper gets it and the end buyer gets it and they sell it, well, 3 people got paid. You know, it's you know, so everybody made a varying level of success, but everybody still won on the same property. You know, it's an original seller got some money too usually. So it's so 4 or 5 people. I mean, on our properties on average that we flip, when there's 12 to 25 hands that it touches directly that are either working directly for me or working for the title company or working for the bank or working for the lender or working for the next lender, the attorneys, the contractors, the skilled labor guys. I mean, you know, there's a lot generated to create success for a lot of people. So it's you know, but if you come up with a mindset of fear, you're not going to get there. If you go out there with opportunity, hey, I'm going to help these people, I'm going to help this world, I'm going to help this world, miraculously, everybody starts looking like everybody's out there to help you too. So it's, you know, and they do. They'll reach out, hey man, I appreciate you. Here's this, here's that. And you just find other deals. Not everything is you know, they write a check. You know, sometimes they write an opportunity. You know, they may not have money to give you, but they may have an opportunity that you can turn into money. You know, and then you know, so there's a lot of different things to do. All right, so on the we kind of went one direction for it, but let's kind of roll back into you know, as far as real estate side goes. I mean, we're going to talk about wholesaling and some flipping on this. This Thursday, you know, July 21st, from 7 to 10 at Joe's Crab Shack on the water at Corpus Christi. So if you guys can make it, please sign up. There's a link in there. But you know, we want to talk about, like, what is some of your background? I know you told me about an apartment deal. You were just mentioning about it. I mean, I know because I know, but nobody else listening knows. So tell us a little bit about wholesaling and what that's done for you, and what that means for you, and then how the current market maybe stays in that.
Wholesaling has done a lot for me, but really it's what I was willing to do that paid off. And wholesaling was just a venue for that to happen. Wholesaling to me is a great lead generation system. Like, to whatever kind of investor you want to be, this is a great system to set up just for your own investments, but also to learn a lot, because you get to know buyers, you get to learn how to talk to sellers, you get to get better at your negotiation skills, you get to know lenders, contractors, other realtors, and building up that network alone through wholesaling makes you a better investor when you're ready to become an investor. I think every investor should have a wholesaling company underneath them, or at least should be partnered with one that works with them, because so you can cherry pick and then wholesale the rest of it. Yes. And it doesn't mean that they have to be bad deals that you wholesale. It's just, you know what you want, and you can focus on that. And then the rest of it you can wholesale, because why not? And so that you have that cash flow coming in from your wholesaling, but you get to have that investment that you get to check out and buy. And, you know, whenever I couldn't wholesale a house, I usually bought it, and people would be like, oh, it's not a good deal. I always did well on those not good deals.
They're probably trying to stop you from realizing it was a good deal. That was like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, it was the ones that I thought were like home runs that I'd partner with somebody that would just like tank. And that's what you have to be really careful who you partner with and have really good boundaries. But with the wholesaling, I think it's a great thing to do. But I think people need to be more clear on what their end goal is, like what lifestyle they're really trying to set up before they start setting up their wholesale operation. A lot of people think that you just wholesale by like pulling a list, cold calling, or texting, and then negotiating the deal and da-da-da. It doesn't have to be like that. There's so many ways to wholesale and so many things that you can wholesale. You can wholesale RVs, lots, land, houses, apartments, shopping centers. Like you can wholesale like anything. So it's like, what kind of investments or what kind of investor do you want to become, and what kind of lifestyle do you want to set up for yourself? You don't have to have a huge operation with 20 people working for you or 50 people working for you in an office. I did all of that. I did the office. I had the large team. I had all these deals coming in and all this stuff. And I decided to change things around towards a lifestyle where I could travel more and where I could do all this. And I actually make more money now that I'm more in the flow of who I am. And of what fits what I want in life. And because these opportunities just start coming to me in different ways. And once I changed it, all of a sudden a hedge fund came up to me. It was like, hey, find us properties and you get to list it. And then some other people came up to me. It was like, hey, how about these things? And I'm like, all right, yeah. And that's part of the flow. But I also had developed a really great network. And then you said that, you asked about what has wholesaling done for me. Oh, and I've done some really great deals. I've been known to do some really large wholesale fees. My first 6 months, I already made over 6 figures. I was doing like large wholesale fees where people were like, how are you doing this? And then like I did like a really nice one. I had actually had an affirmation that I am going to make $100,000 wholesale fee. And I ended up doing a $400,000 wholesale fee a few months later after doing that affirmation for a while and feeling into it and believing that it really could be for me. And that was that apartment deal. And, so it's like, and then I did another $100,000 wholesale fee on another apartment deal after that, but it was only $100,000, not $400,000.
So you were right in getting your $100,000 assignment, but you got a bonus $400 because your mindset's in the right place.
Yeah. And I didn't have to work hard for that. Yeah. A lot of people think, oh, you must have been cold calling all these people doing all this. No, I found out what I was good at, and that's what I started focusing on. Yeah. I don't have to do the things that everybody else thinks you don't have to do things the way everybody else has said to do it. No. You can figure out what you're good at and what your lifestyle you want, and work all that, and then you're going to have your own formula for you that's going to work. Yeah,
absolutely, man. Yeah, those assignment fees, those are the things, the legends, man. We hear about them. It's still, many years later, we still. I see them in networks. Oh, I know some lady. It's like, oh, you do? Yeah, that's interesting. I bet I know who it is. It's 400,000. You don't say on an apartment? No way. It's some fantastic opportunities out there. That's amazing. So. A lot of the people that are going to be listening and hopefully will continue to listen, they're going to be new or apprehensive about getting started. And then some of the people who kind of began are probably getting nervous because of the economy and all the press around that. So, what are your thoughts of the wholesaling plan moving forward in today's world, and the confidence that people should or should not have doing that?
Warren Buffett has a great quote that says, when people are greedy, be fearful, and be greedy when others are fearful. I do think that this is a market that we've never seen before. I was a financial advisor for 10 years. I was a financial advisor during 2007, 2008. I actually saw everything right before it happened. So I switched all my clients over to Brazil Natural Resources. So they were making money the whole time. But I'm a forward-thinking kind of person, so I usually see things ahead of time, just the way my mind works. But I think of it like common sense. Just look what's going around. I think that the higher priced houses, of course, I think housing has already started leveling out. I think it had been overinflated. because of I have a few reasons why, but I think that it's starting to level back out to what's kind of normal. But I do think with the recession and everything that's going on, that in the higher interest rates, that prices may go a little bit lower, because people can still only they have their monthly budget. Their monthly budget doesn't just go up just because like they have to do something to change that. But if they had a monthly budget of $1,500 and now they're getting a mortgage, their interest rate's higher, so they're affording less of a house. So I think that houses, like wherever you are, your median range is probably going to go lower now. But I do think that if you try to buy houses that are more affordable, or you work with houses that are more affordable, those are still going to go. Those are still going to move, because people still need houses. That's not going to change. But these more expensive houses are going to slow down more. Like in San Antonio, I think anything over 350 is going to start slowing down if it hasn't already, which I have a house listed for 395, 394. And it's taken 2 weeks to get offers. Like I've been getting, but like an actual written offer. We finally got a full price offer yesterday, but it shouldn't have taken that long with how the market's been going, but because it's kind of slowing down a little bit. But I think anything like 300 and under are still going to be moving. So looking at that, but also as a wholesaler, if you're getting houses, you need to quit getting them for too high. You look at it like you're the end buyer. Would this be something that you would buy and make money off of? And if you're not sure, start networking with hard money lenders and ask them to write up your deal and see how much they would lend on it and how much you would have to bring to closing. If you're bringing money to closing on your wholesale deal part, then you don't have a wholesale deal. You should be able to still add money to it and not have to bring that much money to closing. Like I understand if you have a closing fee of $5,000, but I usually get paid at closing to buy properties. Because that's where I get it. So you've got to look at the end goal as a buyer. Is this an actual deal? And just be aware that houses may be a little slower moving now, moving forward. And I would focus, like me, if I was a new wholesaler going out there, focus on those cheaper houses, but not too cheap. You can even, I don't know how owner finance is going to go because the interest rates keep on going up, but don't go too cheap where there's no money on the bone either. Like after repairs, you have to get in this median amount, which I find is like over like 80,000 to about, an ARV needs to be over like 150 to 250. That's pretty good range of what the ARV should be. Because if the house is too cheap and you're in the ghetto and you're like, oh, these houses are the kinds to wholesale. No, those are the ones you're not going to make that much money on, if any.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to try to flip in the hood, you got to also mind who's going to qualify for the lending, and what are they going to pay? Or if you're going to wholesale out there, I think it'd be best off to sell to the cash buyer who's going to make it a rental. That out there and just pick up that quick 10, 20 grand and just let it roll. But there's not enough meat on the bone. The math won't support. If I'm going to do $60,000 in repairs on a house I'm going to sell for 80 grand, I can't buy it for negative money.
Yeah, exactly. And I see that a lot.
Yeah, it's so there's no price where it's a fantastic deal if it genuinely requires a substantial amount of work, and a lot of neglect on some of those houses is you're doing almost a full rebuild.
Exactly.
So for our businesses, same thing. I mean, the real money is in that $100 to $300 range, and then we may make some home runs on some big ones. But it's also you're hitting somebody on a $500,000 house at 250 grand. They just look at you like, "Are you crazy?" It's.
Some buyers that are flippers are slowing down right now.
Yeah.
Like you said, rentals. I think rentals are going to do really well also. Yeah.
Oh, no, go on.
Yeah. And one of the things that I do for rentals is I go to Craigslist and I go to gosection8.com and I look for rent. And then I call that landlord and I ask them if they're buying, if they're adding to their portfolio. And then if they're like, no, I'm not, this is sometimes, and I'll be like, why not? Why don't you want to add more? That's usually when you'll get them opening up about a problem property that they're dealing with, or they're dealing with some evictions. They're tired of this right now, or they're trying to retire, or they'd rather sell. And then I go into the acquisition side, but I usually hit it up with the buyer side first. And then I go into the acquisition side. Oh, well, if you're looking to buy, or if you're looking to sell, I buy these types of properties also. So, what are you looking to sell? And then I get in that way. And what I like about landlords too is because they're investors, they understand that you have to get it at a certain price.
Yeah,
so
it has to
they're
make
usually
sense.
a little easier to work with.
Yeah, they understand there is a mathematics to the process. It's not all hearts and minds. Yes.
Yeah, and some landlords, when they're looking to retire, or they're just looking to not be a landlord because they thought it was going to be passive investment, and it's not.
Yeah, it's passive on A. At C means that C and D deals need a little bit more attention. Higher cap rate. More. You're buying a job. The lower cap rate, you're able to delegate that job. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a 13 unit one time, and I think most of them were on meth. This is very interesting.
They all want to pay cash, and they'll give you, well, let me pay a third of it now, and then let me catch up with you, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're square. I made your payment. Well, yeah, it took you 3 months to make one payment. I still need the other two. Oh no, but we're good right now. No, not really.
Yes, and they're usually really entitled with that C class. They always have a reason why something bad's happening in their life and why they need extra help.
That's right. You got to get them to sign up for your class on mindset and attention.
Yeah. My Get Your Shit Together course.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that some landlords getting divorced, so they're forced to sell. I've come across that. I love that too. Well, I shouldn't say I love that. But when that comes around, come on, let me help you out here.
There's whatever the reason is, you can't change the fact that the situation exists. Yeah. All you can do is be a solution for them, be the best solution for moving forward. I didn't create the scenario you're in, but I do have the ability to get you out of it and make you come out a winner out of this scenario. And people are, you're taking advantage of that. Man, the city's going to take it. You're going to get zero. So it's I can put some in your pocket and I can get it done now, have your money to you in 48 hours, or you can roll the dice with the city. Let me know how that works out. Because
what I get is that people telling me how we're vultures and we take advantage of people in bad situations. And I hate hearing that, because at one time, it was about 13 years ago, I went through my own foreclosure. And I had just gotten a divorce like 6 months before that, single mom going through school. And actually, it may have been longer than 13 years now. I think I just stick with the 13 year because I forgot I age. But so it's been a while. 29. Yeah, I'm forever 29. So I went through a foreclosure myself. Nobody called me. I didn't know who I could sell it to that quickly. I ended up losing my house, and I ended up homeless.
Oh.
It was a really bad time, and I was working 2 jobs. I felt like the biggest loser because I was working so hard, but no matter what I was doing, it wasn't getting anywhere. This is also why I got into mindset and understanding energy and all that, because there was a lot of negative thinking back then from myself. If I had a wholesaler that came in and just told me they would just take over my mortgage and I wouldn't have bad credit, yes, because I don't think people understand what happens to somebody after a foreclosure. Your insurance goes up, your cell phone bill goes up, all your stuff goes up because your great credit is no longer there. And I always had great credit. Right. So now I had bad credit, so all my bills went up, because that goes off your credit. And then I couldn't even get a $200 loan. And before that, I could walk into a bank and get a $10,000 personal loan. I couldn't even get a $200 loan. Getting an apartment was impossible with that foreclosure. And then having landlords that would work with me with having had a foreclosure. It was bad. I actually had to live in a monthly hotel, one of those econo lodges. I was actually between a drug dealer and a prostitute. Those nights were very interesting. Oh. And I even had a Crip come in with a gun and was pointing it at me during that time. Yeah, he didn't kill me, so I'm still here. But so I think I am. I think you are. That's your intention. There's no telling. So it was like a really interesting time, and I went through all of that because of a foreclosure. And so I understand what people are going through that have gone through foreclosure. So I never look at myself like a vulture or somebody taking advantage of people in these situations. These situations happen and they need solutions. And we are one of those solutions. I feel like we are a much needed service. And if we do right by people and everybody wins, what is the problem there? That this is needed.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, one side of the coin wants to sell it, and I'm just trying to put money in somebody's pocket. It's I don't want to sell it. I want to sell it later. Right now, I need to solve your problem, or there's nothing for either one of us. So, let me put some money in your pocket, get you stable, and give you a chance to get your life back together. And then, down the road, maybe I can help you buy something later. But right now, let's solve this problem. And let's get it, get these steps going. Let me feed my people. Let me give them jobs. Let me provide opportunities for my crews and the people I need. Provide for my family. Provide for my company, and then make sure that your problem's solved. And then we'll take this property, turn it into something else, rebuild our community. Just one little property at a time, and then either make it a rental or resell it to another family. I think that people don't really understand how many lives get affected by making a change on that deed.
Oh yeah. and I've had some people be like, well, you make so much money on your assignment fees that seller could have gotten that money. Actually, with the way that I do my deals, I am very creative, and no, they wouldn't have just got that money. The way that it was worked, I was able to make something that probably wasn't even a deal into a deal. Correct. And it was my own expertise, my experience, my ability to be creative that paid me. So it wasn't like I took from the seller. Actually, one of my $50,000 wholesale fees, I was the highest offer. Yeah. Another one of them, it was another $50K. That person did not think they would be able to sell. And there was a lot of people telling me that deal could not go through. And then I found out it could. So I made it happen. And then even my really larger wholesale fees, there was always something that I had to get worked out and work it all, make it happen. But I made the deal happen. And because of that, everybody was very happy in the end. And it was a win-win. There was nobody losing anything. Actually, everybody was gaining.
Yeah, and that's super important that people recognize that you're getting compensated to solve a problem that nobody else can solve. And in almost every single case, I was the highest bidder. And I was the person writing the fattest check compared to anybody else, or they would have just gone with the other person. I was the best solution. Now because I was able to generate a better solution for myself that's my job. But it's but at the time, when everybody else threw in their offer, I just, okay, well, where do I need to be? Let's zip it up, man. I'm not going to miss your business by 5, 10, 20 grand. I don't care. Let's just do it, and then if I need to put on my selling shoes and go hustle it on the backside later, that's my responsibility. But whether I win or lose is not their problem. I wrote your check. You're good. It's, and, a lot of people that, they get not a lot of people, but I've had some people who feel like, well, if we would have gone this and would have done that. Well, you had your chance, but you didn't achieve it. It's it was on the market for 6 months. It made 0 offers on it. And I got it done in 2 phone calls and a hello. I don't know. I don't be mad because I'm better. It's like I'm a better, so it happens sometimes, but the majority of the time for the actual sellers, man, they're excited because they had stress, they had anxiety, they had threats, they had phone calls, they had constant badgering, they've had letters, they've had hopelessness, they've had loss of family members, whatever the challenge, divorces, children passing, parents passing, whatever may be going on. And you can't change those realities, but you can at least pull that one extra piece of the puzzle out of them and put some cash in their pocket and provide them some solvency and get them an opportunity to provide, for moving forward for their family. And that's super cool. So what else we got on this agenda here, man? We went all over. We're talking about mindset and topics and, let's see, make sure we're not missing anything. I do want to make sure that you guys, if you haven't signed up, that y'all do show up. Mitzi's going to be talking again. She's going to be doing a keynote speaker actually for wholesaling at the event at Joe's Crab Shack at 444 North Shoreline in Corpus Christi, Texas. Make sure you sign up for it. The link's in the bio, links in the comments, links on my page, links probably on her page as well. Make sure you guys sign up, listen to her. There's going to be food there. I can't say it's free because you got to buy a ticket, but it is. There's going to be food, networking, working. There's going to be wholesalers there selling deals. There's going to be people out there buying deals. At the last event, I bought 2 from people who attended. So that's 2 people who walked in that with the intent of learning from me that I wrote a check to. We're actually at 3. I did 3. Another one I partnered up with somebody else and bought their deal. So it's just on a 3-hour conversation. So I'm talking, I'm teaching you what I know, and Mitzi's going to teach you what she knows. But we're also active investors. So if the deal makes sense for us, we'll write the check. She's definitely a buyer. I'm definitely a buyer. So I mean, you just guys let us know what we need to do, and we're here for you. But I need you guys to show up. Let's see what we got. So we got the no excuse marketing. And then, one of the other aspects I want to talk about, because I think it's underlooked, is women and ladies in real estate. I feel like y'all don't get the fanfare for the deals that y'all do. The guys, we're kind of ego driven, so we're gonna drive out there and take a picture of that check. You make the $400,000 assignment, and people hear about it. I do a $20,000 assignment. That check's getting posted. I'm making a big old billboard. Actually, hold on, just to go to that point, I'm going to show. I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I've got no shame. But I did this one right here, because I was bored one day. So I blew that up to a poster. I'm not sure how much that is, but that's a pretty big fee. That's that's so I had it turned into a canvas to put up on the wall. But I was like, hey, that's a nice one. But they happen, and that's not the only one. There's many of them. So just for you guys that missed it, y'all go ahead. All right. I stated no shame. No shame. Yeah. All right. But anyway, so there's plenty of opportunities to be made, plenty of money and connections, but bring those deals. But I kind of want to talk about on the lady side. I feel like we don't share enough about y'all's wins and experiences, or y'all don't share as much as you should, because a $300,000 assignment fee, a $400,000 assignment fee, a $100,000 assignment fee. When I ran dealerships, in an entire year, if I hit $500,000, that was intense. That was a great year for me. It took me all year to do it, and working 100 hours a week, 96 hours a week. You were able to do that in, you said 2 weeks?
From beginning to end, I think it was like 28 days. But the way I had set it up was I actually made part of my assignment fee a hard money loan back to that loan. So I actually made $26.66 a month for. So I actually made more than $400K on that. Yeah. So but I just tell people $400K.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how my math goes with that, but that sounds like another 70 grand or so.
It was more than, but I just keep it for 400.
You just say 4, so that's fantastic. I'm slaving away for 20 years in the industry to get up to a point where I can do that once in a whole year, and you're slaying it in 28 days. That's fantastic. So I guess, what are some of the wins that you've seen for some of your fellow women and ladies in this industry that maybe you could share to inspire them? I see some of them in the comments or messaging, and from a place of fear, what can we say to inspire them to move forward and take that leap of faith, to know that they're in good company?
Oh, women that want to get started in the business?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Ladies, you are going to be some of the best. Just the way our minds work, we are more like, I can't say that I'm really detail oriented, but we have a tendency to fill in space, to make things pretty. You give us the space, we're going to make it pretty. We know the trash needs to be taken out, we're going to take it out. We tend to see things that sometimes men don't, just because of the way our minds work. And then also we can be logical and emotional at the same time. This has been proven. That's not me just talking about it. So we have a tendency to be more logical, even though that doesn't seem to be the case to some people, but we do have that ability, and we can be emotionally more mature, and that helps in business. And then if you're an attractive female, it can work for you a little bit more too, if you know how to get your way. But I feel like I love working with women. I think women are harder workers, and they just like, if I told a guy, and this has been my experience, I've had teams, I've worked with a lot of people, if I give them a list to call and I'm like, call this list by the end of the day, that woman will already be calling while the guy is coming up with excuses why he can't call yet. And then she'll be telling me how she's already done. And he's like, oh, you didn't tell me what number I need to use. And that's, I'm not saying this is everybody. It's just, I have certain experiences over and over that I've noticed. And so I've given a list recently to 2 different people, man and woman, that told me they wanted me to help them. And I don't really help people for free. I do charge because I got to make sure you're in it. But I didn't charge them this much. And I was like, y'all just do this. I'm just going to give you one step at a time. Just do this. The woman is way ahead. And this guy is still telling me how he's just tired and wants to get out of his work and wants to really do this, but he's not doing it. And I haven't told him yet that I gave somebody who actually works more than him, a female, the same job, and she is blowing it out, you know, like, and he is just telling me how he wants this so bad. And it's like, how bad do you really want it? Do it. So women, I think you guys need to get out there and do it, because you also have this nurturing nature. Most women do want to help, while sometimes men are more ego driven and more about the money. Women are more about trying to actually figure out, how can we solve this? How can we help these people and also make some money along the way? And this is just my own experience. You guys could have your own experiences, but I think women are amazing in this business. And I do think women have a tendency not to brag about themselves. Like, the only reason people knew about my $400,000 fee was my buyer was bragging about paying it. And I didn't want anyone knowing. But when he started talking about it, I was like, well, I guess I'll talk about it too, because then people wanted to talk to me about it. But it's weird that people that you'll attract when they start knowing that you're making money. I had people that I've never even heard of messaging me saying, I need money. Not even asking me not even saying my name. Not, hey, Mitzi, how are you? No, I need money. It was like the only 3 words they would put. And I'm like, wow, okay, cool. You know, like, here's $1,000 just because you said that. Like, what are they expecting? Yeah, so it can really open you up for to attract people you don't want. But I think because we don't do the whole, I call it a pissing contest. We don't do that most men do. Mm-hmm. We aren't as known. And in fact, what I found interesting was that there's been some really well-known women in wholesaling, and like me, I'm badass on the phone. Get me on the phone and I can close a deal. But there was this Closers Olympics that was done, and not one woman, not one, for like 2 years straight, I think. And it happens a lot where the guys get together and it's like a whole, little clique here. And like a lot of the people who are really good are left out. And some people who haven't even been in business but for a few months were in the Closers Olympics. And I was like, what is going on? But because it's more of a, maybe not a few months, but maybe just a year, and haven't even really been that big of a cold caller. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And it's just because these guys are talking a lot on Facebook. They're like, look at me, look at me. And so they get this attention. And I mean, that's what we need to do. And as women, we need to put ourselves out there more. I don't like to talk about how much I make. I'm more about like the mindset kind of person, or talking about, hey, this deal closed on time. Yes. So I like to put attention on that kind of stuff. But a lot of people don't even know what all I do, because I don't brag about it on Facebook, like my deals and everything. So like, but I think it's because women need to put themselves out there more. We do need to do that for ourselves, or at least hire a social media person that can do it for us, and figure out a way to do it in a way that's not bragging. Or maybe you need to brag some, I don't know, or have other people brag for you. But I think that's why we're not heard of as much. It's because we're not as, look at me on how much money I've made, or act like I made.
Yes. Well, good. That's some great stuff. I think that's true. There's a little less fanfare for yourself. You also should celebrate the wins too. And you'll have some fantastic wins, and they're inspirational. They help people realize that their fears maybe are real, but they don't have as much weight as they feel. Like they know that there's somebody out there who has already achieved, and it wasn't an impossible feat. So the more people that can see that the varied types of people, we got this person, male, woman, this color, this generation, this whatever, that they're able to push through and find success no matter where they came from or started from. I think that's fantastic. And I think we should celebrate our wins to some degree. We may not have to brag about the dollars we make, but we can brag about the fact that we're succeeding, that we're doing well, and that our fears that existed ended up not being warranted. We were able to find solutions in spite of those fears. And but that's just my thoughts. So okay, well, we'll bring this home. Can you give us any other words of advice or any closing thoughts?
I think before you get into wholesaling, know why.
Okay.
And if it's just the money, dig deeper, because the money is going to go up and down in the beginning. And you're going to give up really quickly if it's just for the money. So make sure that you have a big why on why you're doing this, and be bigger than I want to provide the best for my family, or I want to be happy, or I want to make a bunch of money. Dig deep until you feel like your soul is speaking. It's going to help you really go after what you want with the wholesaling, and like, who do you want to serve? What kind of buyers? What kind of sellers? What kind of investments do you really want to go into? And creating your business around that instead of how everybody else says to build a business. It's like cold call, drive for dollars, do this, and it's all like set up the same way, so everybody's doing it all the same way. Just know there's many ways to do it, and if you don't know, just reach out to me and I can help you out. So
just reach out, put your banner down there. It's just reach out to let us know. What's the best way to contact you, Mitzi, for people who want to talk with you directly and hear from you and be able to find you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Text me. So my cell phone is 903-372-7189. Okay. And you can text me and then I'll get back to you.
Oh, perfect. Well, Mitzi, man, I sure appreciate you coming here. I look really forward to seeing you this Thursday and talking. So, we'll get together on a game plan for that evening. In the morning, I'm flying out at 6:00, so I'm going to be tired that day. Man, I'm really, really blessed to have you be there, and I look forward to meeting with you and hearing your perspective and whatever new projects. For those of you who are listening, we are buying deals on site, so we're going to talk about it. We're also going to be about it. I'm here. I want to buy your opportunities. Personally, I prefer to buy in DFW, San Antonio, or surrounding Corpus area, because that's where I live. Those are that's where I go. So I have a home base in each one of those cities. But I'm open to anything. So if you got some in Houston, El Paso, Ohio, Hawaii, preferably on the water, I'm open. It's you just let us know, Mitzi, whatever she's interested in. Just let us know. There's going to be buyers, there's going to be sellers. We're there to provide solutions. It's a no excuse event. So whatever your reason for not moving forward is, bring that attention to us, and we're going to help you find a solution for it so we can get through it and we can all win together. You got any other finishing moves for us, Mitzi?
I'm buying shopping centers.
Shopping centers, there you go.
Parks. So in San Antonio area and surrounding. And then I'm also finishing up my book called Get Your Shit Together. And I also have a course coming out called Get Your Shit Together, help you get your mindset right so that you can get your life right.
Oh, man. Well, we look forward to seeing that. We'll talk about that book when that time comes. We'll get back on there together. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Mitzi, so much for being here. We sure appreciate it. If y'all need anything else, just let us know. We're here to help you. Thank y'all so much. Have a blessed day and help us rebuild this community one property at a time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.